basically, Lucas, I'm not from this church, but like I was invited by some friends. Basically, raised in a I was raised in a Catholic place since my childhood, but we didn't follow the stuff that was there. It was just a tradition in Brazil. So I was born on the countryside, all that stuff. Had like this life, like animals, all that, climbing trees. It was amazing. But then I went to the capital. That's when my life started to go like other way. I went to the capital because my mom, she finished university, so she picked me up from the countryside that I was living with my aunt. I'm saying that because it was like kind of important. Because I was raised by my aunt. Basically, when I started living with my mom, everything was different. The way that my mom would talk, the way of the things were. With my aunt, it was more like this environment of like talking, like being very approachable, all that stuff. I enjoy that. And but with my mom was kind of raised different, so I had a lot of struggles with that for my life. You know. What I can say is I went having these struggles, not having this affection. Made me go to a path in which I tried to fill this void with other things. So I went to parties, I went to drinks, I went to drugs, I went to women, I went to all these things. Like I tried to in a way like try to
fill the void.
Fill the void, basically. Like I tried everything in that. But I couldn't. Every time I tried, I felt even more like empty. And this is something crazy. We try to accomplish all these things to pursue our goals, but it's funny that even though that you get at the top, you still want more, right? Basically, I was in this situation, and I was like this rebellious person in my house, and I went to England in 2016, and I started getting involved in drugs in there. So I had to like go back home because there were some situations, and I went through a lot of things back in my life. Like I went back to Brazil, started living with my dad. Sometimes I had to get away from my house. I had to leave my house at midnight because of the problems that I had with the problems that my dad had with his woman at the time. So my family was dysfunctional. Like I don't know, probably like a lot of you guys know a lot about it. Every family has problems, but this is something that it really affects the person, the way that the person chooses something in the future, like chooses wife, chooses a job, chooses whatever. But what I can say is, I never went to this Christian side. I was talking to someone today, and I said, I never heard something about Christianity, like when I was in the capital, for example. Actually, there was a moment here in 2017, in Reading. I remember when I saw a preacher preaching in Spanish, and I was mocking him. I was there, like he was preaching, and I was like, what's this guy's doing? And when I went to Brazil, later, when I was living with my dad, my aunt, the one that I was considering basically my mom, because she raised me, she got cancer. And basically it was a very, 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 very bad like cancer, because we found out like very later, and she had to go to the therapy, and it was I don't know how to say, like, it was weird for me seeing her losing movements, like constantly, like as time would pass, because I always had this image of a very vibrant person, very animated, very like
strong person.
strong person, yeah, like very a bridge to the family, basically. She was that. And I was having these struggles in my life with my parent, with my mom, and all this stuff. So I was lost, basically, dead at the bottom, drugs, drinks. And one thing that I felt really bad was I at the time I didn't know how to deal with this situation. I didn't have the maturity to look after my aunt. I wish I had this opportunity, but to have more a mind that could no, these things are silly, you have to look after your aunt. But I was lost. I was trying to fill this void. Basically, my turnout point was I didn't have nowhere to go. When I left England the first time because of problems that I had with my family. I didn't want to stay there. My dad, I couldn't stay with my dad. I almost got killed in there. There was some problems as well. So I couldn't stay with my aunt as well because of the cancer, because of the situation. She couldn't handle these things. So I didn't have nowhere to go, basically. And I remember speaking to my mom one day, and she said, "Lucas, next week you are going to a boarding school." And I said, "Boarding school? Is that like some high school thing, like those high school musical things, you know? Is it something like that?" And she said, "We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out." I said, "Okay, I'm going." I didn't have no clue what it was, the boarding school. I'm gonna be honest with you, I had no clue. And when I went to the boarding school, I remember the guy picked me up from the train station, and he put this song, and it was a funny song. It was a lot of people singing, and I was like, "What song is that?" And he said, "Oh, it's the choir from the school." And I was like, "Choir from the school? What do you mean?" He said, "It's the choir. The choir from the school. We have the choir from the students." I was like, "Oh my God, these Porsche people, all these things." And when I was going inside the school, I saw a cross, I saw a church. I was like, "Oh my days, man. Am I in a nun, like a place with nuns? And so, am I going to be? Are they going to hit my hands when I don't get the things right?" So I hated it. I can tell you, I hated it. I hated every gospel thing related, like songs especially. I would listen to gospel music. I was like, "You were stupid listening to that thing." And I was like that for the whole first year. Like I would do anything I could do in that. Why? I was too full of weight. Especially, and I received, and when I was there, someone called me and said, "Lucas, your aunt passed away." And that's when man, it was bad. It was bad. I don't know if you had this situation before, but I was at the bottom. I was like, I don't have nowhere to go. I am going to finish. I don't see needing to go. The person that I loved is dead. My mom that I always try to find, to have the relationship wasn't there. My dad wasn't there. I'm here on this place. I don't have nothing to do, so I'm going to end it. I was rationalizing myself. I was like, I don't see meaning. So a year was going by. I was there at the boarding school. I was trying, my head was concentrating on the things I don't know how was the exams. And then I heard a song one day at midnight. It was called "I Look After You." I was just curious, and I saw the song. Got in my heart. A year passed, 2019. Some friends came to my room. New people, we used to live together, 4 people in the room. You can see the smell of this place. and I remember when one of the boys, Igor, he came there. His parents were there, and they said to me, Lucas, you are going to give your heart to Jesus by the end of the year. And I said, okay, wait. And like I used to be the student of like why I didn't give myself to this. I wasn't giving opportunity was because I thought that, oh, you guys are Christian because you never faced real life. Oh, you guys are Christians because you were born in church. It's a tradition. It's just passing the tradition. But if you were in the world, you're not gonna be a Christian. There is no God in the world. I had like you are a Christian because you have a good life, because you don't have problems. I don't know if you think that way, but I used to think that. And I remember this. I started to get very close to one of my friends called Luan. And Luan wanted to be a preacher, wanted to be a pastor. He wanted to study theology at his boarding school and stuff. And I don't know how we kind of got close. We got close because he had a similar rough past like mine. So, and I was like, how can you be Christian if you have had these problems in your life? And he said, he didn't say anything. We just started being friends. I remember the first story of the Bible he told me. Every time he had a chance, he would tell me a story of the Bible. I remember the first story he told me was about Elijah. Send fire from the sky and all that thing. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Oh, I can't believe that happened in the Bible. Because I never heard Bible stories before. And what I can tell you is, the more he would tell me some stories sometimes, and I was getting curious, like, man, I want to know a little bit about it. Yeah, let's start studying the Bible. And then we start studying the Bible. I don't know how to tell you this, but as I was studying it, I was feeling something like something dragging me, like, Lucas, do it. Lucas, study it. And I remember every time I would finish school, I would go to Luan and I say, let's study the Bible, man. Let's start doing this. And he said, no, man, I can't. I have exams. And I said, okay, don't worry. I'm gonna go to the pastor. And I went to the pastor of the school, and I was every night knocking on the door with the pastor and saying, let's study the Bible. I don't know. I was feeling like this energy, this something like I have to know this. I have to know. And I remember when we were studying about the second coming of Jesus. I started crying so much because of my aunt. I was like, is this really possible? Is this something that I can have? Can I have this peace? Can I know this God? Because I never had, every time when I needed someone, no one was there. Can I have this God? Can I have this Jesus like they say in the Bible? And I was having this. We didn't even finish the study, and I said to the pastor, I'm going to give myself to this. So I want to get that. So in 2019, that's when I got that. And so basically, yeah, that's my way.
You know, Lucas, as you're saying that story, I can relate so much with it. I was baptized in 2019, and does anyone else want to share something? If not, I'll try to wedge mine in quickly with yours. That's alright. Does anyone want to share anything? So, yeah.
So how do you feel now about that void the things that you're missing? How do you feel about that now?
I'm not gonna lie. It's not like you were born again and then the problems that you have gonna finish forever. No, it will not. It will not. Things will get better, of course. I prefer 100% where I am right now. I prefer 100% having this relationship with God. Why? Because the problems I had with my parents, my dad, with myself, with my identity, with who I was, my purpose, all these things, by following God, He washes you. He cleans your brain. He makes you feel peace. And this, with my mom, I came to my mom and I spoke everything I had to speak to my mom, my dad. It's some things you can't never change, but some things you can. It's not always up to you. But what I can say is, this void. I don't see anything more better than knowing Jesus for real. What's we ourselves, we lie to ourselves a lot of times. We say that we're gonna do things and we don't do it. We try to do this thing to give this trust each other people, and people gonna make us disappointed, just like we make ourselves disappointed. So I realized today that God is the only one that can actually, like, you can actually account for him, you know. So I have problems, like I have things like there are some problems. It's not roses, but they are nothing compared to God, compared to having God. It's nothing. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, these problems are big, are big ones. So it gets better, especially with God.
Amen.
Thank you.